Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting English lesson. I'm David. And I'm Sophia. We're so happy you're here. Today, we're going to learn one of the most useful words in English, would. Many English learners know this word, but they're often confused about when and how to use it correctly. Don't worry. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand would in a simple and practical way. So, let's get started. First, let's answer a simple question. What does would mean? Well, would is a modal verb. It doesn't show an action by itself. Instead, it helps another verb express ideas like politeness, imagination, preference, or past habits. Here's an easy comparison. I will help you. This means I'm making a promise now. But I would help you. This sounds different. It often means I want to help, but only if something happens. For example, I would help you if I had time. I want to help, but I don't have enough time. That's why we use would. Let's learn the first and most common use, using would for imaginary situations. Imagine someone asks you, if you won $1 million, what would you do? Would you buy a new house? Would you travel around the world? Would you start your own business? These are imaginary situations. They're not real. That's why we use would. Here are more examples. If I were a bird, I would fly across the world. If I had more free time, I would learn Spanish. If I lived near the beach, I would go swimming every morning. Can you see the pattern? Whenever you're talking about something unreal or imaginary, would is usually the correct choice. Now it's your turn. Complete these sentences in your mind. If I had a private jet. Maybe your answer is, I would travel around the world. Excellent. Here's another one. If I could meet any famous person. Perhaps, I would meet my favorite actor. Very good. One more. If I spoke English fluently, I would get a better job. Fantastic. You're already using would correctly. Now let's talk about another important use, using would to be polite. Native English speakers love using would because it sounds kind and respectful. Instead of saying, I want some coffee, they usually say, I'd like some coffee, please. Instead of saying, help me, they say, would you help me, please? Notice the difference? The second sentences sound much more polite. Let's look at some examples. Would you open the window? Would you pass me the salt? Would you tell me the time? These are polite requests that you'll hear every day. Imagine you're at a restaurant. The waiter asks, what would you like to order? You answer, I'd like a chicken sandwich and a glass of orange juice, please. Simple, natural, and polite. That's exactly how native English speakers communicate. Great job! So far, you've learned two important uses of would. Talking about imaginary situations, making polite requests. But that's only the beginning. In part 2, we'll learn how to use would for preferences, past habits, reported speech, and everyday conversations. We'll also test your knowledge with a fun quiz. So don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone. I'm David. And I'm Sophia. If you've watched part 1, welcome back. You already know that would is used for imaginary situations and polite requests. Now let's learn some more powerful ways to use this amazing word. Ready? Let's begin. Using would to express preferences. Sometimes we use would to talk about what we prefer. The expression is would rather. It simply means prefer. Listen carefully. I'd rather stay home tonight. I'd rather drink tea than coffee. I'd rather read a book than watch TV. I'd rather travel by train than by bus. These sentences tell us what someone prefers. Let's imagine a conversation. David asks, Sophia, would you rather live in the city or the countryside? I'd rather live in the countryside. I love fresh air, green trees, and peaceful mornings. What about you? I'd rather live in the city because everything is nearby. See? Using would rather makes it easy to talk about your preferences. Now let's travel back in time. When I was a little girl, I would wake up early every Sunday. My mother would make delicious pancakes. My father would read the newspaper. And every evening, my friends and I would play outside until sunset. These were repeated actions in the past. That's another important use of would. Here are more examples. When I was in school, I would study in the library after class. Every summer, we would visit our grandparents. My grandfather would tell us wonderful stories before bedtime. Remember, these are habits that happened again and again. Now let's learn another common grammar rule. Imagine someone says, I will call you tomorrow. Later, you tell your friend about it. You say, he said he would call me tomorrow. Notice what happened. Will changed to would. Let's try another example. Direct speech. I will help you. Reported speech. She said she would help me. Very simple. You'll hear this in movies, TV shows, and everyday conversations all the time, so it's a very useful rule to remember. Now let's fix some common mistakes. Wrong. I would goes there. Correct. I would go there. Always remember, after would, use the base form of the verb. Go, eat, play, study. Never goes, played, or eating. Here's another one. Wrong. If I would have money, I would buy a car. Correct. If I had money, I would buy a car. This is one of the most common mistakes English learners make. Quick quiz. Let's see how much you've learned. Question 1. Which sentence is correct? A. I would like some coffee. B. I would likes coffee. Pause. The correct answer is A. Excellent. Question 2. Complete the sentence. If I had more money, I blank buy a new laptop. Your answer? Would. Great job. Question 3. When I was a child, I blank play football every weekend. Correct answer? Would. Fantastic. Final summary. Let's quickly review today's lesson. We use would to imagine situations. If I were rich, I would travel the world. To make polite requests. Would you help me? To make polite offers. Would you like some coffee? To express preferences. I'd rather stay home. To describe repeated actions in the past. When I was a child, I would play outside every evening. In reported speech, he said he would call me. And remember the golden rule. After would, always use the base form of the verb. Learning English doesn't happen in one day. It happens one lesson, one sentence, and one conversation at a time. So don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every mistake is another step toward fluency. Keep practicing, keep listening, keep speaking, and most importantly, believe in yourself. Thank you so much for learning with us today. We hope this lesson helped you understand how to use would correctly. If you enjoyed this lesson, keep practicing these examples in your daily conversations. The more you use would, the more natural your English will become. Thank you for watching. Take care, keep smiling, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next English lesson. Goodbye, and happy learning!